This is Derek Melber with Alsid. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about a configuration that is inside of Active Directory for your user accounts, but should actually not be used because it's deprecated, but the setting is still there. And of course, if you use this setting, it can be used against you in an attack, so this is something you really need to look for. This setting is related to the primary group ID. Now, if you notice, if I try to go in to John's account here and modify the primary group ID manually, it's going to give me an issue. So you'll notice here that it's set to 513, which is a normal standard user. But if I try to change this to 12, which would be domain admins, it's going to say, sorry, you can't do that. So what I need to do instead is add John to be a member of the domain admins. Now, when I add John to domain admins, it actually doesn't modify John's primary group ID because the primary group ID is really used for interaction with Unix. So this particular configuration is no longer needed. Unix has been updated to understand this, but sometimes it can still be set to that because of maybe a legacy application. And also it's used as an attack vector. Now you'll notice here that it's still set at 513 even though John is part of domain admins. Now what you will notice is if I change this at this point, it will allow me to change it to domain admins because John is in domain admins. But if I go to the domain admins group down here, you'll notice that I cannot remove John from the group. So if I try to remove, it says, sorry, you can't do that because it's trying to protect it. Now, what you'll also notice is here in Alsid, we have an indicator of exposure for primary group ID specifically for this reason. Now, you'll notice here that John is listed. And the reason John is listed is you shouldn't be using the primary group ID. So how in the world would an attacker take advantage of this? Well, in a DCShadow attack, the attacker can actually update the primary group ID for a user without the user being in any particular group. So a user could be made the same equivalent as a domain admin without actually being a domain admin. But that's exactly where Alsid comes in and tells you if an account has a particular configuration for its primary group ID. This has been Derek Melber. Thanks for watching.